When I first used the KS-23, I absolutely hated it. I thought it was slow, clunky, hard to use up close, impossible to use at range, and if I did end up hitting anything, really weak. And I just thought it was kind of useless. However, fast forward a couple of months, and now it's one of my favorite weapons. This shotgun definitely isn't for everyone, but once you understand how it works, it is a game changer. In this video, I'll show you why the KS-23 is one of the most underrated guns in the finals, we'll break down the pros and cons, I'll show you its unique feature that is actually incredibly useful, and I'll share with you my own personal KS-23 loadout that makes this beast really shine. So let's jump into it. This is the KS-23 shotgun, the most underrated weapon in the finals. Okay, so let's just start with a quick introduction to the KS-23, including the most important features of this weapon. So the KS-23 is a shotgun, obviously. However, this shotgun is very different from the other three shotguns currently in the game. It's different in two key ways. The first is that it is not a hit scan weapon, and is in fact a projectile weapon. With a hit scan weapon, like the medium shotgun, the model 1887, you just need to put your reticle on the target, press fire, and they will immediately take damage. Whereas with a projectile weapon, like the recurve bow, the bullet is affected by gravity and has some travel time. And so with these kinds of weapons, particularly when shooting at long ranges, it will be necessary to lead your target and account for a little drop on the round. And so, as you can see with the KS-23, you do have to lead your target a little. And although the drop is not huge, it is there. And the second way in which this shotgun is very different from the other shotguns in the game, the projectile that it fires is not a shell, but is actually a slug. This means that where the other shotguns have a pretty sizable spread on their rounds, allowing you to get partial hits like this, the KS-23 has absolutely no spread at all, and so there is no such thing as a partial hit. You either hit for max damage, or you miss. Speaking of max damage, the final element of the KS-23 that we should briefly touch on is critical hits. And this is something that this shotgun has in common with all of the other shotguns in the game. Critical hits are not possible. This means that going for headshots is a total waste of time with this weapon, as they do exactly the same damage as hits to the body, or hits to the little toes. Oh wait, it doesn't have any toes. Okay, then shots to the cock. Alright, so that's a brief introduction to the KS-23. Now let's talk about that one unique feature that sets this weapon apart from most of the other weapons in the finals, and definitely the other shotguns. Honestly, this totally blew my mind when I discovered it. Get this, the KS-23 destroys walls. Now, of course it's true that almost every weapon in the game can destroy walls and other structures, but for most of them, it takes a really, really long time. And so for most players, unless you're rocking a sledgehammer, charge and slam, or you're a medium with DMAT, it can get pretty claustrophobic out there. But with a KS-23 in your hand, you can break out of any prison. At the closest range, it takes 3 shots to take out walls and other concrete structures. And it also takes 3 to take out 1 goo blob. And at longer ranges, it takes a couple more depending on the distance. And the KS-23's incredible utility doesn't stop there. As well as taking out walls with ease, this weapon also takes out pretty much every player deployed item in the game in far less time than any other weapon. Ziplines go down in 1 shot, as do mines. You can take out barrels in 1. Turrets go down incredibly quickly. It's really good at taking out dome shields, and barricades get absolutely shredded. Compare that to most other non-explosive weapons in the game, and you can spend entire clips on ziplines and still not take them out. With the KS-23 though, it's just so easy. And now, after all of that talking up of the KS-23, let's talk it down by going over some of the cons. And then after that, I'll show you my KS-23 loadout. But first, a huge shout out to ExpressVPN. If you've ever wanted to play games in a different region or browse the web securely, ExpressVPN is how you do it. I can tell you from experience it 100% works, and honestly, the ping's actually decent too. And right now, every single Mogz viewer is gonna get a huge discount of 3 months off all 12-month subscriptions, meaning it just got a whole lot cheaper for you to jump into a different region and destroy your opponents over there. How good is that? So go check out ExpressVPN via the link on screen and in the video description. So for me, the biggest problem with this weapon is really that it's just one of the most unforgiving weapons in the game. What I mean by this is that not only does it have an extremely low fire rate, but it also has no scope to help you with your aim at range. On top of that, the round is a projectile, as we talked about earlier, and so you have to lead your target on mid to long range shots. And also, the round has no spread on it, so you have to be pinpoint accurate with it to deal even the smallest point of damage. So it's basically like you're no-scoping with a sniper rifle on every single shot. I basically think of this weapon as being akin to an aim trainer, something that you use to get your eye in before you jump into a match. And honestly, it does work pretty well for this. I always find that after using the KS for a bit, when I do switch to something like the 1887 shotgun, I absolutely shred. And the other problem with it is that it does have an extremely long reload time. And so to avoid those really long downtimes where you might just want to hide behind a barricade until it's finally over, you should probably get into the habit of reloading after every few shots. And now finally, onto my loadout. This is my go-to loadout when using the KS-23. It includes Charge and Slam, Rocket Launcher, Explosive Mines, and Barricade. For my playstyle, the two key items to pair with the KS-23, particularly offensively, are the Charge and Slam and the Rocket Launcher. The reason they're so crucial is while the KS-23 does deliver a significant amount of damage per shot, it can sometimes be tricky to land hits consistently. That's why having a couple of additional tools to reliably deal moderate damage alongside the KS-23 is essential. At close range, I might lead with the Charge and Slam to soften the target, then finish with a KS-23 shot. And then at longer range, I could start with the Rocket Launcher and then follow up with a KS-23 shot. The most important thing is really just to have additional options to deal damage at short and long range alongside the KS-23. Because if you rely only on the KS-23 to deal damage, it can be pretty rough out there. And then the Explosive Mines and the Barricade are mostly used defensively. The Explosive Mines will help us hold cash boxes, as well as covering our retreat and hopefully allow us to pick up some extra kills. And the Barricades will give us extra cover, obviously, as well as allowing us to safely reload during that long KS-23 reload time. But yeah, both of these items can be substituted if you prefer something else. I'd recommend maybe the Incendiary Grenades to deal extra damage to opponents in the same way that we use the Rocket Launcher and the Charge and Slam. And of course, the Dome Shield is always a good choice for defense. But yeah, there it is, my KS-23 loadout. And that's it, guys. That is my video about the KS-23 shotgun. Honestly, I think this is one of the most underrated weapons in the finals. I rarely see anyone using it, and I don't think I've ever seen anyone use it really well. So I highly recommend you guys give it a go if you haven't already. And if you were on the fence about this weapon or you didn't like it, I hope this video changed your mind at least a little bit. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down below. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button. If you didn't, the dislike button. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.